All right, hey everybody, welcome to Chiustream. Hope you guys are doing awesome. I know I've been doing awesome since I came back from Savannah, Georgia. I'll tell you why. It was just whoa, shoot. I gotta turn off my volume over here. Anyways, just came back from Savannah, Georgia. Um, SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. They had us over there, and they had us, as in I was on a panel with John Cars. From his credits go from Frozen to Wreck-It Ralph to Tangled to Incredibles to Ratatouille, Monsters Inc., Bugs Life, and he was also the director of one of my favorite shorts, Paperman. And I was on the panel with John Carls, who is the producer of Rango. And finally, I was, the last person on that panel was, one of my absolute heroes, Glenn Keane. What the heck was I doing there? Well, I guess I was on there because of Nico and the Sword of Light, our animated comic book did extremely well, in iTunes, and it was independently made. So my whole entire thing with that was kind of put a fresh perspective on the different possibilities where animation can go. Just four people, four college friends coming together to create this animated comic book that ended up somehow going to number one in over 36 countries in its category, and that was just life changing and amazing. And of course, there were others that we brought on. Can't forget the people that helped us along the way, um, to make this comic book happen. Took a little bit over 2 years. Anyways, uh, Glenn, he was there to promote his short duet, which is amazing. If you haven't seen it, you could check it out on YouTube, I think. Um, Another pretty much independently made short, for Google this time. And then there was the amazing John Cars, who directed Paperman, which was also, really pushed the envelope on animation and 2D animation, which was fantastic to see so much happening in 2D animation. So, anyways, back from that, super inspired, ready to go, really happy to be back on the stream. So, why don't we start off the stream like we start off every stream with a little roll call? I see a bunch of people on the chat already saying hi, hey, how's it going? Saying hi to each other. Just a great place to kind of converge and talk about art and find other people that have the same likes and dislikes and whatever as yourself, everybody going through the same struggle. It's awesome. That's why the stream is one of my favorite times of the week, things to do. And then we got Berlin, Germany was just there, right on. Chile, Spain, Chile again, Serbia. I see there's Malaysia up in here, Africa, Nambia, Africa, right on. Norway, Toronto, my hometown, Brighton, right on. And they're all coming in Indiana, Berlin, Italy, London. Wykit, big shout out to Wykit from Malaysia, Italy, Mika Madden, Romania, Denmark, New Zealand, Toronto from New Zealand, right on, Lucky. Brazil, Chile, Philippines, holy smokes. And it's just going on and on and on. Big shout outs to all you people that are, you know, joining me for the stream today. I know some of you, Ukraine, right on, Mexico, Russia, Sweden. I know a lot of you actually had to stay up late to get onto the stream, or you had to wake up super early to get onto the stream. And you know what? Right on for you guys, because sometimes we gotta dig deep to really achieve our goals, to really get towards our goals, and that's something that I don't just promote. I try to live by example. This morning, again, got up 5 a.m. 5 a.m., got all my stuff together, got breakfast, whatever, and then Kay came with me as well to the studio, got here before 6 o'clock, just feeling good, A lot of times when you get out of the house before the sun comes up, and then you are there to kind of witness the sunrise, and you're ready, you're ready on your way to start your day. That's a natural kind of just high of, like you just feel good about yourself. You just feel like you are being productive, like you are getting ahead. And it's something that I highly recommend to everybody out there. I used to stay up late. I used to stay up very late all the time, and which is, fine as well. But it's not the same kind of like awesomeness that I felt when I saw the sunrise, because the sunrise would mean, oh, I should go to sleep soon, and that's what it indicated to me. In this case, now I wake up early, and then when you see the sunrise, you're just like, yes, I am so ahead and of like how I used to be. Not just that, but it was something, starting your day with something hard to do, hard for anybody to do, just gives you that extra bit of confidence and motivation that you have what it takes. Now, if you want to ask me any questions, this is how the stream works. If this is your first time on the stream, you just go to facebook.com/Bobby.Chiu, Chiu. Bobby is Bobby, so Bobby.Chiu, Chiu. And you can, ask me a question there. And if you share and like the post, not only will I really appreciate it, of course, to help spread the word about the stream and what we're trying to do here, what I'm trying to do here, spread the good knowledge all around to all the artists around, and give a chance for people out there to, ask somebody that's working in the feature film business, character designer, and all the questions that you might have to ask, because, as many of you know, it's very hard for me to get to respond to people's emails and things like that, because, as people start emailing in, there's more people emailing in. So it might take me 2 weeks to respond to your email. But usually what happens is it doesn't even take a day for that person to respond right back. Plus, I'm getting more emails on top of that, so it's like this never-ending landslide of emails. And the more I respond, the more emails come in. Actually, I've had to kind of filter out my emails and have my assistant tell me which emails to reply to and filter out all the other ones, simply because it's a battle that I just can't win. And the more I fight, the more I try to satisfy and more I try to respond, the more the emails come. So the best way to ask me any question is right here. So I'm glad you guys found me. And if you're listening to a recording of this stream happens every Thursday, 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Okay? So you can ask me questions on the Facebook page there. If you go to Bobby.Chiu, facebook.com/Bobby.Chiu, there's the very first post on there. Okay, you can see that it says Chiustream, this and that. You can feel free to ask me whatever questions you want, and I'll be happy to try to answer as many as I can. And One thing that I always state from the very beginning, something that I'm a big advocate of, is thinking for yourself. So if, I always let people know whatever I'm saying, it's not the be all end all, it's not the absolute answer. Perhaps it is right, or perhaps it is the absolute answer, like 1 plus 1 equals 2. However, I always advocate for people to think for themselves. So think about what I'm saying. Not only that, but think about what everybody is telling you and go through it in your head. See if it makes sense. Because if it doesn't make sense, then that's okay. You can find your own path, find your own way. But if it does make sense, if what you hear does make sense to you, then you have to do it. Okay? You have to do it because too many of us know what to do. We all know what we need to do to get to those goals that we're trying to reach in our artistic career or in our lives. But so many of us just don't do it. And that's a huge shame when you know what you need to do, but you don't do it. So if things totally make sense to you, but what you need to do to achieve those goals that you're going for, you got to do it. Okay? You just got to. Now, if you like and share my Facebook post there, the very first one on my page, then at the end of the stream, I'm also going to be selecting one of you that have randomly, well, I'm going to randomly select one of you that have shared and liked the post. And I'm going to give one of those people out there, one of y'all, today, right at the end of the stream, a free weekend pass to Schoolism Florence workshop, December 16th. And this is a very special workshop because it will be the first time we're going to have Peter Desev, one of the best character designers in the world on this planet, and Marcelo Vignali, another incredible hero to so many of us. If you want to learn from them in Florence for free, I'm going to be selecting one of you to give a free weekend pass to the Schoolism Florence workshop. And if you just want to learn from them, it's definitely worth the trip. Even if you're outside of Florence, you can go to schoolism.com and get your tickets there. Okay, so why don't we go to the very first question, which is from Nikita. Since you're talking about getting up early and all, I'm wondering how many hours do you sleep usually? And if you don't get enough sleep, do you think it affects the quality of work or your creativity? That's a great question. So usually I sleep, nowadays I try to get 7 hours of sleep. The thing is, you know what? I can fall asleep easily. I've been really blessed with that, that kind of ability to fall asleep easily. But for me to stay asleep has always been challenging. I generally will wake up after 5 hours, without an alarm, and it's tough like that. Sometimes 4 hours, and I'll try to fall back asleep. Does that affect the quality of work that I do? No, not really. Unless it's like 3 hours of sleep, then that tends to affect my ability to produce quality work because I'm just falling asleep in front of my screen. However, it's not the same for everybody. I think it really depends on the quality of sleep that you get. If you are an extremely deep sleeper, then you need less sleep. I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty darn sure that if you kind of look for that evidence, you're going to find it that if you're a very light sleeper and you don't sleep well, you can't continuously sleep well, then you tend to need more sleep. practically sure that that is a fact just from experience. I used to sleep much better um, until college, and then I just tried to stay up all the time, all the time, all the time. And then after college, since then, over 10 years ago now, I had trouble sleeping for long periods of time. But when I'm extremely tired, and it's great, I could sleep really, really deep, and it's awesome. One time in college, I actually slept through a fire alarm. The fire alarm in my building started going off. I didn't even hear it, which is definitely pretty dangerous. Don't recommend that. Does it affect my creativity? Well, you know what? That one's interesting. I don't know. Because sometimes when you're, you know, practically, uh, awake, but your mind is asleep, you kind of go into these lucid kind of moments where you're kind of like half in reality, half not. And sometimes that's really good for your creativity. I don't know. Like, I remember working on the very first, when I was working on Alice in Wonderland um, live action movie, a lot of nights I was up 4 in the morning, things like that, because I was teaching, in college. I shared in college during the day and then working at night. And a lot of the characters that I created that got approved very quickly were all done when I had very little sleep, which is kind of interesting. Kind of maybe it plays into the whole entire spirit of Alice in Wonderland, I think. Just being this trippy movie. And when you don't have a lot of sleep and you're practically hallucinating from lack of sleep, it plays into that whole spirit of Alice in Wonderland. I don't know, but that's what happened. um, so let's go to the next question here. Natasha asks pretty much the same question. I would love to know how many hours of sleep per day. So, answered that one. How do you see, this is from Vitali, how do you see the future of art, movies, and concept design? Share your thoughts and fantasies. How I see the future of art, movies, and concept design, I think, I highly think that virtual reality is going to change a lot of stuff. I'm very, very interested to see how uh, the Oculus Rift and whatever else is coming out is going to change things. A really cool thing that Glenn Keane showed me was how his short film is supposed to be watched, on a Google device, right? Where it's not like the Google, you know, Android, whatever phone is a small screen, but it's more like it's this peeky hole. It's this little window into another dimension. So you start the short, you start watching these characters, and then they run off the screen, and you actually literally have to move your little phone to follow them along, right? And maybe they start separating, and you could follow one or the other. Really interesting stuff, totally immersive. And the Oculus Rift takes it even further. You put on the visor. I tried this at a friend's place that he's developing some game stuff for the Oculus Rift, and I got to try some stuff that he was working on. It was completely immersive. You put on headphones, you put on the visor, and you are in this other world. You turn your head, you see around you. You can look up, you can look down. It's amazing. And that, my friends, I can't see how that won't change the world in terms of art, entertainment, movies, games for sure. I would love to see, imagine you're watching a movie and it's like you're sitting on the set and you're just watching everything. You're watching this whole movie happen around you. Imagine, uh, National Geographic documentaries. Hopefully, this will happen in the future, where you know uh, you're watching a documentary about Antarctica. You put on your whatever it is, and all of a sudden you are in Antarctica, sitting on your couch, still warm, but you know, penguins walking around you. That would be incredible, just incredible. Sports, even things like, say you're planning some sort of trip, or to be able to visit the hotel before you actually go there and see if that's the hotel that you want to go to. I think that's totally in our very near future, because I heard Oculus Rift comes out next year, right? Um, Something that I wrote down here that I need to mention is painting color and light with Dice Satsumi Robert Kondo. That's going to be, uh, I think their very first class is going to start in January. Now we've had a huge amount of interest and emails and giant notification lists in the hundreds, if not over 1,000 by now. I just received word that they are only going to be able to take 8 extremely lucky students uh, to take this class, painting color and light. So what we're going to be doing is uh, it's going to be a class, the very first Schoolism class, where portfolio is required. And you guys are hearing it first, because I love to give a little heads up to the Chiustreamers out there. Um, look out for the email. Sign up for the Schoolism newsletter if you don't get our emails. And if you signed up and you don't get our emails for some reason, it's most likely because it might be in your Google Gmail tabs where it's about promotion or whatever. The best way to put uh, put our newsletters in your kind of safe list is just to either go into your settings in Google and make sure that emails from us get through, or just reply to those emails, and Google will automatically go, oh, okay, this is an important email for you. Um, so good luck to everybody who wants to get into that class, because that has been, it's gearing up to be the most popular class on Schoolism. Um, and I've watched the videos, so I know why. These guys are amazing. They totally change the whole idea of color and light. But, what I found to be the best way to develop your own voice, and this is something that I always advocate to all of my students, is even though I might be teaching you something, even though I might be teaching you something about creatures or whatever, don't stop there. Learn how other people do it as well. Learn how Terrell Whitlatch does creatures. Learn how, as many people do creatures, the same topic, in other words. And through all these different points of view, that's the best way that you'll develop your own point of view in a very special, unique way that really speaks about you, the individual, creating your own voice. Because as you start learning from all these different people, you start to see similarities, you start to see connections, you start to see things that you gravitate towards more than others. And that being said, another one of my favorite teachers on Schoolism has always been Sam Nielsen. He's just an incredible explainer of things from such a scientific point of view. How does light actually work? How do you use it in the proper ways from a very scientific point of view? And he has a new class. It's called Lighting for Story and Concept. And the reason I really like this class is because it teaches so many things that I would have loved to know from the very beginning. I posted this on Facebook a little while ago just saying, like I struggled a lot with color in the beginning because I was never taught it as well as I feel like it should be taught. I was taught color theory, but I wasn't taught how to use color theory effectively. Okay, um, a complementary color scheme. Okay, you have green and red. Okay, that's good. So what do I do now? Do I just paint green and red paintings all day? That doesn't even make sense. I anyways, so in this course, you learn how to paint objects under lights of different sizes, which is very important. How to paint materials with a variety of attributes like matte, shiny, textured surfaces, translucent materials. How to control lighting exposure, or how to light colors and surface colors. How do they interact? How shadows are casted by lights of different sizes and from different positions. How light is scattered by atmospheric effects. These are all things that were super hard for me to find the answers to as a student. And now, there's um, all these questions answered in Sam's awesome class, Lighting for Story and Concept Art with Sam Nielsen. The reason I'm mentioning this is because we're doing a spotlight sale where this is the only class that's for sale, like on sale right now, $100 off, self-taught version, and the sale only lasts till I think November 19th, I believe. Just a couple weeks. Definitely get on that if you are a person that has struggled with light and color and you want to learn how to use them correctly. Now, if you don't know how light and color work at all, then I would suggest Fundamentals of Light and Color, because this one might be a little bit too advanced. Okay, so anyways, the other thing I wanted to, let's go to another question here. And for those teachers out there that are teaching painting, teaching about light and color, I highly recommend you taking one of these courses to truly learn about what the heck you're teaching. Because when you teach things that you don't fully understand, I'm not trying to knock anybody, but I want teachers to up their game. Take one of these courses and learn for yourself. Learn what you are supposed to be teaching to your students so that you are, completely competent and you will feel more confident in what you're teaching. Not only that, but if you're teaching painting, you must have some sort of interest in it. And if you really learn about this stuff, then you won't have to kind of pretend as much anymore, and you can teach really, really good knowledge and better your students, better your school. Okay. So let's go to Joel asks, why not use YouTube streaming? Works way better for the most, probably. You know what? I'll look into it. I remember I looked into YouTube streaming before. It didn't really mesh with me. It was a little too confusing for the most part, and I didn't really have the time to look into it thoroughly. So perhaps I'll, take another crack at it. Um, Now, another thing I want to mention, and this is very, very cool. Vancouver, I'm coming back, Vancouver. Super excited about this. Vancouver Workshop, it's not even announced yet, so you guys are getting the scoop. We're doing this thing. It's going to be January 10th and 11th in Vancouver, and it's going to be a killer lineup. Killer. But you're going to have to wait and see. You know what? I'll just let you guys know who's coming to Vancouver because I'm so excited about this. It's going to be Pixar character designer and art director of character design at Pixar, Daniel Arriaga. He's going to be there. It's going to be Sam Nielsen, the person I was just talking about, and he's going to be talking about lighting. And there's going to be Nathan Fowkes, who is our most popular teacher on Schoolism currently. He's going to be doing environment design. And last but definitely not least is Ian McKeag. Dun dun dun! Ian McKeag is one of my absolute heroes of art. He's worked on, Star Wars 1, 2, and 3. He's worked on Star Wars, J.J. Abrams' Star Wars that isn't even out yet. I also saw on his IMDb that he's working on live action Jungle Book. And he is a legend. A master of what he does. So it's going to be an incredible, incredible weekend. I can't wait. Maybe I'll do, some little thing as well, a little demo or whatever it is. And it's going to be at the Four Seasons, the new Four Seasons in Vancouver, which is going to be great because Saturday night we're going to have a get together as well, a little party, some music, some drinks, where we can all, chill out and hang out and talk to one another, network, talk to the instructors. It's going to be awesome. Awesome. And I'm told I should also mention CTNX. CTN, been going there since the very beginning, November 21st to 23rd, Burbank. When you're talking about networking, that is an amazing place to network, to meet others just like you. And, can't wait for that one as well. Glenn Keane's going to be there, as well as Dylan Cole, as well as so many others. And Kay and I will be there as well, so you can come and say hi. All right. Let's see the next question. Rebecca, do you ever do portfolio reviews or know anyone who does? I want to know what I can work on to improve my portfolio and overall work. Hopefully you can answer this. Online, I don't do portfolio reviews because, like I said, I don't even have time to do emails really. I try, but it's this never-ending landslide. So I guess this won't help me as much, but it might help you. If I don't answer the first time, try again. Just ask again. Don't take it personally, please, because it's just a matter of I just try to get to as many people as possible. So if I answered your friend but I didn't answer you, it's not because I hate you. It's just because I'm just randomly answering as many emails as I can during a quick coffee break or something like that. Yeah. If you have any questions, you didn't hear the beginning part, go to facebook.com/ bobby.chiu. So that's BOBBY.CHIU, and you can post your question there. Okay, on the very first post that I have, post your question in the comments, and I'll get to them in the stream. Okay. All right. But Rebecca, let me give you some tips and, you know, give everybody some tips on things that people look for in your portfolio. Now, this is towards the people that they really want to get to the higher levels of concept art, character design. 'Cause that's what I do. That's what I can speak about. But I feel like this can definitely go across the board. You want to find your own voice. You want to be unique, but complementary to wherever you are applying to. So, in other words, if you want to apply for Disney, try to be unique, but have your artwork be complementary to what Disney already does. If you draw exactly the same as everybody else that you've seen at Disney, you might have a much harder chance to get high up there uh, because they already have people that do what you're doing. How do you create your own kind of voice? It's through knowledge. You could create your own voice through without knowledge, without learning other stuff, and just trying and experimenting. And sometimes that works, but in the long run, I don't feel like it's a good thing. It makes things that are more like a fad that comes in and out of style very quickly. Things that stay in style have foundation behind it. It has knowledge behind it. And how do you create something, unique? Well, I think the first thing that you have to know is that we're all unique creatures on the inside. We just have to find a way to let it show. And that's through just learning as much as you can. And why this works is because when you learn as much as you can, you tend to use the things that you learn that you like. So if you are interested in creatures, then the things that you learn about creatures, you tend to use into your own art. If you're not interested in creatures and you're more interested in environments, even though you learned a bunch of stuff about creatures, perhaps you're not going to really use that in your portfolio, or you'd use certain elements of it in your environment design, right? And like perhaps it's the inside of a whale. So you learn a bunch about creatures, but you're interested in environment design, so you use those things in this interior layout inside a whale. That's how you start to develop your own voice, because as you learn more and more and more and more, some things you use more than others. And those things are generally, those are the things that you like, right? And if you like them, your art speaks more about you. You understand? So to make an awesome portfolio, a lot of times the best art that I see is like, it's amazing art, it has great foundation, but even more than that, when I meet the artist, I kind of get these aha moments like, oh, that's why you paint the things that you do. I understand even more now about your art, which is like the coolest thing. So for example, one of my absolute heroes of art as well, Tara Whitlatch. She worked on the Star Wars franchise as well, doing character design, creature design for the films. She's incredibly good. And she knows like every bone in the body, every nook and cranny, every muscle in these creatures and stuff to such an anatomical level. And her drawings are breathtaking. Now you would think that somebody that works on Star Wars creatures would be kind of weird, have a lot of piercings perhaps, a tattoo on their face. I don't know, but she looks like a younger Sally Fields. She looks, for the most part, like this very normal, like you would never expect it kind of person. But then you learn about her and you learn about how her father is a biologist, her mother is an illustrator, her grandmother owned horses. And then it starts to all tie together why she creates the things that she does, all these magnificent creatures and things. Why does she do that? It's because of, all these things in her life, right? And her art speaks about her and makes it so much more special that way. Let's go to the next question here. Okay, so Archer asks, I've made a decision to put off gallery work for a while and focus on my own personal project, a graphic novel. I'm so influenced by Disney and Ghibli and artists like Nathan Fowkes, Alexandro Barbucci, and I've been told by so many other artists and professors that there are more artful ways to illustrate stories. How do you find separating your own artistic taste from those that are deemed sellable or commercial? Wow, what a good question. It is a kind of like a fine balance. Um, some things you like to paint, and other, people just won't like them. But then you want to stay original. You don't want to sell out. You know, who do you want? Who would you love to own your pieces of art? I would start off with that. Think about that. Who would you love to own your pieces of art? Try to get a picture in your head, not just say, oh, it doesn't matter, I don't care. Because I think it starts off like that. You think about who those people are, and then think about, well, what would I love to give them? What would I love for them to have of mine? And try to find that balance. Um, and then just try to obtain that knowledge, how to paint like that, how to draw like that, how to sculpt like that. And just fill up your brain with as many different ways of doing that genre or that subject matter as much as possible. You can see that I do the same thing in my paintings. I'm always trying to learn more and more, and I reject the things that I don't really find that useful for what I do, and I totally gravitate towards the things that I find very interesting, even though, I am an employed illustrator that, has been doing pretty lucky, doing pretty well so far. But I still look for knowledge. And that's something that I find very much in common with so many of the great teachers and artists that I admire out there, that they're constantly looking for knowledge as well. You can see right now I'm using a lasso tool. If you see in any of my old videos, I never used to use a lasso tool to paint. That's because I've been watching Dice and Robert's class about painting with color and light, and they use the lasso tool. So I love that whole method that they use. I started to adopt it into my own. Now, does my stuff look like, Dyson Roberts stuff? I would think not. Their stuff is awesome, and it's very different. But, you gain these little tidbits of knowledge, and it helps to create your own unique voice. That's why, on Schoolism, we have a bunch of color and light classes. Why would we have a bunch of them? Why don't we just have the one and only one, the best one? Because there is no best one. They're apples and oranges. There's all sorts of different approaches, and the best way to really master light and shadow and color and all this stuff is to learn from as many, you know, well-rounded, you know, extremely talented artists and their own theories about that subject or whatever it is. Character design from Daniel Arriaga, character design from Steven Silver. All right. So, you know what? There was another thing I wanted to mention that I've been talking to a lot of students lately, at SCAD and things like that. And something that I really loved about Savannah was the Southern hospitality. And those people in the South, they know what I'm talking about, and they know how appreciated it is. And people that have been to the Southern states and in the U.S., they also know what I'm talking about. The Southern hospitality. I was having breakfast at the hotel that I was staying at, and there was a waitress. She came by with some coffee, and came by and just as I was walking by, and she said, "Hi, how are you doing?" And I said, "Hi." Just kind of like I wasn't really expecting anything else. I just kind of expected that it was kind of like one of those things where you just say hi, how are you doing, and you're not really expecting an answer. But she stood there. And so I said, "I'm doing pretty good. How's yourself?" And she said, "Good, good. I had a early day, got up early, feeling great. Are you here for the film festival?" She was genuinely asking, "How am I doing?" And that brought such a connection to us so quickly. The next day, I saw her again, made a conversation. And as artists, so many of us are introverted and have a hard time networking, making friends, meeting somebody that you don't even know and trying to make a connection with them. And I found that friends are those rare people in our lives that ask you how you're doing and then wait for an answer. Wait to hear an answer. It's not just something that they just kind of say. I found that was one of those very memorable things about that trip to Savannah, which I thought was awesome, and I hope that I can, spread that here in Toronto as well. Even though most people in Toronto, you say, "Hi, how's it going?" And they just go, "Good," and then that's the end of it. They don't even want to talk to you anymore. But it's a great practice, I think, because the people that you really connect with, you'd be surprised on how much they end up mattering in the end. In hindsight, I look at my career and everything, and I couldn't have done nearly as many of these things without all the friends that and all the people that I met and made a connection with. So that's a little Chiustream tip of the day. You know, when you say hi to somebody and you ask them how they're doing, wait to hear an answer. Okay, so let's go to the next question here. Hadaz, I hope I pronounced that right. Hadaz, hi from the in-house workshop. Right on. What would you recommend as a good daily exercise to improve your drawing skills? Draw, copy sketches from great artists, copy photos, and try to express them in different ways, like in Steven Silver's style, in Ian McKegg's style, in all these different styles, and try to translate the information that you copied and apply it to a still image of real life. Then try to do the same in just real life. You go into the source, life itself, start sketching the other students in the in-house workshop, start sketching T-Bear in the in-house workshop, start sketching all that stuff. And then, of course, in the end, you want to be the creator of life. You are the artiste. So try to create life in that style. And then just try to copy, like, not copy, I don't want to say copy, but try to take what you see in somebody's drawing, somebody's painting, a photograph, life itself, and express it in your own way. Using the little bits of information, different little bits of knowledge that you've collected, try to express it in your own way. And if you do all of that, then you'll be doing great. That's the main thing, is to have a plan of where you're going. We can dig and work longer and harder than all the others, but if we don't have a plan of where we're going, it won't help very much. If you just keep practicing, you don't even know, you don't have a strategy to learn how to draw better, then you won't increase your skills as much as the next person that has a strategy. And in the in-house workshop, there's like a million amazing art books. Start sketching from them. Start sketching, start off your day sketching a page, and then try to dissect every line, dissect every decision that artist made, and why did they make that decision? Why did they paint it like that? Why did they draw it like that? And try to get into their brains, figure it out. It's so much easier to gain knowledge from people that already have that knowledge than to kind of figure it out all by yourself, even though that has tremendous value as well. But when you are learning from people that took years and years to develop a technique or an insight into something extraordinary, usually it takes only a fraction of the time to teach you, to share their thoughts. Just like in Dyson Robert, watching their lessons and their explanations of using the lasso tool and different things like that, it took them years to develop this kind of insight, and took them minutes to explain to me in their videos. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And now I'm doing it in the demo that you see here, right? And big shouts out to everybody at the in-house workshop. That is my absolute favorite thing that we've done in Imaginism and Schoolism is to do the in-house workshop, where just 4 artists are invited to stay at the in-house workshop, living with their mentor, Mr. T-Bear, Thierry Lafontaine. What an incredible experience. Jason Seiler, one of the best editorial illustrators living today, spent a week with all the students out there, teaching them every day, showing them demos and all this stuff. I wish I could have been there. But hopefully I'll get back there sooner than sooner the better, anyways. Because I definitely miss that house. It's so serene. It's like the 6,000 square foot house with a lake in the back, frog pond. It's very, very peaceful. The perfect place to get super intense about art. All right. Let's go to the next one. Ian Mack, right on. How's it going, Ian? How do you get noticed by studios in Toronto? Thanks. Wish I could afford to go to Florence. Peter DeSev is an inspiration. He's an inspiration to me as well. Even when I was back in college, that was like one of my huge inspirations. Ian, I would like to kind of change your question a little bit and just say that when you get kind of like a spotlight on you from the world, everybody in Toronto will notice as well. You know, the best way to get noticed by studios in Toronto is to get noticed online. That's what I always found. Um, Now, in this world, in our time right now, whether it's a good thing or bad thing, I think it's a little bit of both, but we determine a lot of what's good or bad by how many followers does that person have? How many likes or shares does that person have? You know, if you see an image and it looks okay, but it has 1,000 shares, 1,000 comments, 1,000 likes, then you're like, wow, that must be pretty good. You know what I mean? And that has become like our new resume. So then it leads into the next question that you're probably thinking, which is, how do I get more followers? There's many different ways to get more followers or more eyeballs onto your stuff. You could rant about something if you like. Perhaps that's a good way, but I found the best way has always been to get more followers, be a leader. To be a good leader, try to be a good role model. You know, try to do positive things. Something that really helped me in the very beginning when nobody knew who I was I started a sketch group. Back then it was called the Bobby Chew Toronto Subway Sketch Group. I wanted to be a teacher. But you can't get a teaching job if you don't have experience a lot of the times. Well, how do I get a experience if nobody will give me a teaching job? So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to go on the internet. I'm going to tell everybody, hey, anybody in Toronto wants to come out, sketch with me. If you want to learn from me as well, I'd be happy to teach you. And just start doing that every Sunday for 5 years. Now it's just called the Toronto Subway Sketch Group. It still runs in Toronto. And that was a fantastic way for everybody to start noticing me, not just in Toronto, but especially in Toronto. You know, and it was something that anybody can do because, you know, at that time, nobody knew who I was. The main thing is, Ian, you gotta keep it consistent. You know, don't give up after 3 weeks. Don't give up after 2 months. Don't give up after a year of whatever it is you're doing. If you constantly are thinking about it and still makes sense to you, this is something that's good and this is something that I should do, then you got to keep doing it until you succeed. The very first year of the Subway Sketch Group, there were so many days where nobody showed up at all. I'd say at least half of the time nobody showed up at all, but I would just keep posting. Subway Sketch Group met today. Here's my sketches. Well, yeah, or the Subway Sketch Group happened today. Here's my sketches. You know, did anybody show up? No, I didn't mention that. But eventually people did show up, and eventually it became quite big and, you know, was in the newspapers, was on television, all this stuff, Globe and Mail, whatever, photographers, and it was just, you know, just from consistency. People will start to recognize whatever it is with enough consistency. And this doesn't mean that you have to start a sketch group, Ian. This means if you are going to post a painting a day, do it with consistency. If you can't do it, you know, every day, once a week. And if nobody notices you for like 6 months, keep rethinking your plan and adjusting it accordingly. But if it makes sense to you, stick with it. Earlier I was talking about Nico and the Sword of Light, animated comic book that went #1 in its category for 36 countries. Huge amounts of success that I was very lucky to have. But on the same point, you know, it was, I believe it was the fact that when that app came out, it did nothing. For 3 weeks, it was flatlining. It was just our friends and our own networks that were buying the app. But we believed in it, didn't give up, kept pushing, kept talking about it, kept promoting it, trying to get people to talk about it, blogs to talk about it, this and that. And then Apple picked up on it. Then they spotlighted it in 7 countries. By the end of the week, it was in 21 countries. And by that time, it was number one in 36 countries. And if you give up too easily, if we gave up too easily, we probably never would have even seen the success, seen the potential. And nobody will see your potential unless you have that kind of grit and that kind of consistency. Keep it going until you succeed. I think Harrison Ford once said that he thought that he wasn't the best actor, but he thought that he could become a great actor. He will become a great actor because he's he's going to keep trying. And he's going to keep trying long past the other people that stopped trying, and that's why he would succeed. All right, Natalia, I'm watching you on this. I'm watching you right now on live stream. I love your process. It's so free and fearless. It was a struggle. I'm trying to do overcast lighting here, and because why? Because I've been watching, I've been learning from Dice Tsutsumi and Robert Kondo's class. It's not out yet, so don't ask me. But I've been watching their videos, and they do a lot of overcast lighting, so I've been trying to practice that. So fearless, no, it's actually totally intimidating, and I don't feel comfortable, but I don't care. I'm gonna just let it all hang out, mistakes and everything, and just try. And with that kind of effort, always trying to put in that kind of effort, I know it'll get better and better. So thank you very much. Anyways, I want to know, how do you avoid getting overwhelmed by all the brushes and features in Photoshop, and how do you keep focused on the topics you choose to paint? Greetings from Mexico. What's up, Mexico? So you got to put on the blinders sometimes. Some of the why was Forrest Gump so successful? Which is such an awesome movie. Um, he's super successful because he puts on the blinders. He just says, "Okay, I'm going to start running." And because of that consistency, because of that determination, that passion, and that laser beam focus, he becomes well known for running. Ping pong, everything that he does. It's even though he's not the brightest uh, coin in the pile of coins, he is super successful nonetheless because of his absolute concentration and to be able to put on those blinders. You just got to do the same thing. Pick one thing that you like, which is difficult. What is the thing that you're going to start off with? It doesn't matter. Just choose one and go at it until you see tremendous improvement. Then decide whether you want to go on further or you want to choose something new. If you could do that, you're going to be great. You just got to keep thinking about that and shut off all those other parts of your brain just going, I want to do this, I want to do that. And just put on that laser beam focus. Okay. Lucky. What's up, Lucky? How's it going? Good to hear from you. Do you guys still do subway sketching? Yes. Also, thanks for being inspirational. Thank you very much. 2 weeks into Toronto and over 50 applications. I'm already freelancing at a huge studio that I didn't even realize was hiring. I'm the most terrified and excited in my life. Right on, Lucky. Lucky has been this this wonderful artist that I met years and years ago when I was doing subway sketching, and he has, um, memories of Lucky have been burned into my brain because he was somebody special, somebody that went over the top to try to, you know, uh, put his artwork out there to kind of customize his art towards specific studios. Just wonderful, wonderful to hear from you. Um, and this is a person that I had no doubt would succeed, and it looks like you're already starting to succeed. And it's not because of your art; it's because of your attitude. It's your attitude that really um, determined it. Success is largely determined by our attitudes. So remember, everybody, stay positive when it counts the most. Gotta stay positive. Life has a way of throwing bricks at you just when you're trying super hard. So, anyways, let's uh, let's kind of wrap things up. I know time goes by super quick, and I'm sorry about that, but it looks like we're pretty much at the end of our time. So I want to give a big shout out to all the people that were on the stream today, everybody that helped to share the post on Facebook as well. I'll be back online next week, same time, Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Pacific Time, and let's choose a winner to get a free weekend pass at the Florence Workshop, where you will be learning from the absolute masters, Marcelo Vignali and Peter DeSev. Super, super excited about this. And of course, Kay and I will be there as well. So, uh, I've been always picking names that are hard for me to pronounce. Please don't take offense if I mess up your name. But this weekend pass is going to Alessandro uh, Puggi- Pugiotto. Oh man, I totally messed it up. Okay, so it is Alessandro, and your last name is Pugiotto. I totally messed it up. I'm sorry about that, but hey, on the good side of things, you won a free weekend pass to the Florence Workshop, and I'm going to be sending you a message on Facebook. Look out for it. You need to respond to me um, within the next few days, or else I'll have to give it to somebody else. So thank you everybody for hanging out with me in the stream. Uh, it's been a pleasure, and hopefully I'll see you guys next week. All right, take care everybody, and have a good day.